depended on it.
Hey, everybody, you just caught the sneeze.
The sneeze. The sneeze heard around the podcast.
Yes. Fortunately, we all have on masks and we have plastic.
We have a few miles in between us.
Yeah. We're physically distanced, socially distanced, whatever you want to call it, depending on what place you happen to be.
Right. We were doing that before it was all cool. Like we were sort of leaders in this.
That's right. We were. Seriously, like podcasting was like the original Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
We were Zooming when Zooming wasn't cool. We were like, people didn't know what Skype was.
No.
Honestly, real quick. When I first listened to WDW today, like when I first found podcasts back in like 2004, I was like, God, how lucky is it that those four dudes all live in the same town? Like that they're huge Disney fans. They like can all live in the same town and record 3 times a week. Like, what are the chances? I had no idea. I was such a dummy. And like, oh, they're recording on a computer, like over the phone. How's that? Because it sounded like they're all together.
Maybe people think that we all record in the same location.
I don't think people are as dumb as I am. That's how I look at the world. I just figure people are not as dumb as me.
I don't know.
Yes. Okay. So if you have questions, we may have answers. We may not. We may make them up. We probably won't. We'll just we'll
do our best.
No, we have answers. We've been there. We just got back, both of us. All right. So here we go with listener questions. And yeah, it's okay. Your dogs are fine. Your dogs are good. You're gonna mess up everybody. We were winning. Remember though, we were winning 3-0, and I was excited for about 5 minutes. Here we go. Holy cow! Episode 1994.
Wow.
Sneaking up on 2K.
1994.
Yep.
I like that we're in the years. Like,
yeah, that's 2 years out of college.
We're going to surpass ourselves. We're going to surpass where we are.
Yeah, we are soon. Yeah, not long. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 1994 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Hope this podcast finds you well and that you are having a nice midweek here in the middle of November. And of course, it is Wednesday, so it's time for your listener questions. So joining me today, it's just it's a duo, it's a pair. And we haven't talked to her for quite a bit because she's been down at Walt Disney World, business and pleasure, which is always the best. We have the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel, Pam Forrester. Pam, glad to have you back. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. So I have to share, as you mentioned, I just got back recently and I bought what may be my most ridiculous souvenir ever.
Yes,
okay.
Nice. We love to hear that. Yes.
So we're in one of the shops at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which is, of course, where Galaxy's Edge is. And you know what time of year it is, right? It's Christmas time.
Yes.
Well, they had, I don't have them here. I could grab and show, but I'm going to try to paint a mental picture here. They had a pair of leggings. Now, you know, the leggings at Disney are sort of absurd to begin with. These were Christmas Star Wars leggings. I kid you not. We have Ewoks on sleds and characters holding ornaments. They're colorful. They're completely stupid. And I had to buy them. As soon as I saw them, I'm like, I'm buying these. I have to buy these. So yes, you know, the Star Wars Christmas movie, maybe this will bring back fond memories of that lovely Star Wars Christmas movie.
So no, wait, they're not selling these in Batu, right? Are these, because I mean, this is in the store up on Hollywood Boulevard, correct?
Yes,
because that would be totally, I mean, that would just give the people that are the diehard, you know, don't break the canon. Like that just gave me like hives, and I'm not even that hardcore into that stuff.
I know. No, apparently they don't celebrate Christmas in Batu.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, especially with Ewoks going on sleds, that's a little much.
Right. But I was saying to Steve, I feel like there's an opportunity here because couldn't they like have some handmade holiday ornaments of some sort in Batu? Yeah. I think those would be big sellers. And Steve's like, I know you alone would buy every single one of them. So like, I'm like, yes, I probably would. But no, these leggings are sold outside of Batu. When you come back to Earth, they are sold there. And yes, they also have great t-shirts, you know, that have a Christmas theme. And just I love the things that they're doing now with some of this merchandise. I think it's really just opened up a really cool thing. So yes, absurd Christmas leggings with Star Wars celebrating Christmas on them. So
all right. So on Friday's show, I'm going to ask you, because speaking of Christmas, we've already seen the first after hours Very Merriest Christmas party take place earlier this week. Scott is actually going to be down there for, as you're listening to this show, or if you're watching live on Tuesday as we're recording the show, he's going to be there tonight for the second party. So we'll get to talk to him about his experience if anybody's heading to that party here in the next few weeks. But you know what? Real quick, we can talk about this Friday a little bit, but from what I saw on social media last night, this party looks incredibly like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. It looks a lot more similar to the original Christmas party than, say, the Boo Bash look to Mickey's Not So Scary, correct? I mean, does it look? Sure. There's a lot more parallels there, I think, with the parade, the fireworks, stuff like that.
Yeah, it does. I'm so excited because really being at Walt Disney World and at Universal around the holidays is something that just completely gets me in the mood. It sort of takes you out of all the things you have to do at home, right, at the holidays, which are wonderful and lovely, and you get to see everyone, right? But there's a lot of work that goes in there. Mm-hmm. You can roll into Disney or Universal. Someone's already decorated for you. They'll cook for you, right? They'll do all these things. So, I'm thinking that this might be a great way to celebrate the holidays. And the other thing is, too, with all the supply chain issues, who ever thought we would say that word or that string of words as often as we do? The scarcity of some items, I'm thinking more than ever, what I will be giving everyone on my Christmas list has to do with some kind of travel this year, because I know it's going to be here. I don't have to order it and hope it will come in, or I don't have to pay 8 times more than I usually pay for this thing. So yes, this will be the year of giving travel.
Remember when you were a kid and you gave out those like little coupon books? You know, like a foot rub, or like I'm going to clean my room. Like I think a lot of those are going to be happening this year just because of the supply chain, like from like 48-year-old husbands. Like, couldn't get you anything, so I made you a coupon book. I'll clean the oven. Just saying, I'm getting a little nervous. So
yes, Mike, you should, especially since you do your Christmas shopping so late. You should. Supply chain issue is going to be something you need to think about.
I know, because I listen to the Trucker Channel all the time. That's all they talk about on Sirius XM. Okay, here we go. So Spencer's got a question in here. Speaking of Universal, real quick, must eat places at Universal. So he wants to eat well at Universal. Give him the top 3. It could be table service kind.
Okay. All right. So the great thing about Universal is City Walk has some great restaurants too. It's like the Disney Springs of Universal for those who have not been over there, right? So one of my favorite restaurants is Big Fire over there. It's newly opened probably in the last year or so, and it is located sort of where Emerald's is, but they sort of specialize in things being cooked over a big fire. And you walk past, they do great steaks, they do great vegetables. Everything we've had there has been good. They have great drinks, including a peanut butter and jelly whiskey drink that is. Now you got my attention. Right? So that's a good thing. And for dessert, hello, s'mores. I know tableside s'mores for some reason are like awesome. And why aren't we all doing this at home a little more than we are? But anyways, yes. So check out Big Fire. It is one of my favorites. Inside, gosh, I think that if you're going, you should eat at one of the Harry Potter restaurant locations, be Three Broomsticks or Leaky Cauldron. They sort of feel like you've walked into the movie, and I think that's really a cool thing to do. So check those out. And finally, at the resorts, I'm going to say...
let me throw one in. I can't remember the name of it, but it was that Italian place that we ate at Portofino.
That was very good.
It was almost like you were in like a little hidden, like... it wasn't like... It was almost like we went in like a hidden door. I don't know if it's like... Because I didn't know the place well, but it didn't seem like it was very prominent. But when you got in there, it felt like you were in somebody's house. But the food was so good. It was so
good. I know. So was it Mama Della's?
Yes, I think it was. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
It is. And we ate there recently, actually, over the summer. We had been there and just had such a great meal. And what was really so cool about it is they have strolling musician. The guy comes around and sings and or is playing.
It was totally like you're in a movie. Like
I know it was.
I'm either in a movie or I'm like in an amazing race and I'm doing a challenge. Like I need to eat 7 pounds of lasagna, then I'll get an envelope. I don't know.
They have a great menu, and they have every night, I believe, sort of a prefix menu where you get an appetizer, entree, and dessert. And their desserts are fantastic too. So definitely check that one out. That's a good one for sure. And I'll just put a little, another one out there. A great place to stop and grab a beer or a drink and snacks is Jake's in Royal Pacific. And I will say the pretzels that they have, the pretzels that you can order, they are so good. Just trust me on this. They're like the kind that are like really crispy on the outside, and they come with this cheese sauce and then this fantastic, like almost a combination of ranch and mustard. I can't even describe it. So good. Go there to Jake's for sure. We go every time. So.
What's up, Jake? Hook me up. That sounds good to me. I'm so ready. All right, Philip's got a question here in the live chat. Says I'm heading down for my first Run Disney event marathon weekend. And he was mentioning how excited he is because he saw the pictures from Wine and Dine, which was awesome. Shout out to all the listeners. Great job running down there. It was cold. It was windy, but it was awesome. Says he's running dopey. Can you give some advice on the expo character meet and greet strategy during the races? And have you ever ridden a ride during a run? Okay, real quick on this. Expo is always best. And here's the thing. There's 2 things you got to think about the Expo. If you want to get the limited edition merchandise, which apparently Disney's been busting people for buying up all the stuff. They kicked somebody's annual pass out. I saw on social media earlier for somebody going over to the Expo and swooping up some of the pass holder Run Disney stuff. But if you want to get the real limited, if you're really into the merch, you want to go early on the first day if you can. But if it doesn't matter to you, your bib's not going to go away. They have tons of merchandise. So I like to go later in the day because all the people that are nervous go first thing. I went, for example, I got my bib for Wine and Dine at like 5:00 on Friday. I was like the only one there. I could just walk up, grab my bib, didn't wait in line, went into the merchandise place, didn't have to wait in that whole extra room where you go zig, 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 zig back and forth. I just walked right in, looked around, walked out, no problem. So if you can wait till later in the day, you won't have any issues with that. However, I know you're excited. It's your first Run Disney event. I would not fault you for standing in line, going over first thing, because you want to do the shopping and all that stuff. It's fun, but it's easy. You just go to your resort, catch a bus. There'll be buses that run about every 15 minutes over to the expo. They drop you off. You walk in. There's signs, tells you where to go. It's a piece of cake. As far as character meet and greets, now what they did for the Run Disney event for Wine and Dine, modified. There were lots of chances to meet characters on the course. It's just like in the park, so it's socially distant. You just got to get a selfie basically with them, or there's photographers there, but you stand behind, like the characters are all kind of behind a rope or like a velvet rope or something, some kind of a barrier, depending on what they're, these were all villains, because it was like the Wine and Dine was kind of a villains theme. So, it's like a fence or something. So, but the thing is, it's fine because you're running a race. You don't want to spend a whole lot of time. You just kind of jump in there, snap a shot, and you're out of there. Personally, I never stop for the pictures because this is just how my stupid brain works. I can't stand in a line, even if it's 10 people, because I just watch 100 people go past me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 100 people in front of me. There's 200 people in front of me, 300 people. And it makes me nervous wreck. So I know some people that doesn't bother them. And they get the best pictures. I cannot do it. So do what you want. You'll be fine. I would totally be fine if I did that. However, I do ride rides on Marathon Sunday. I don't think we can do Everest this time because they've changed the course in the last couple of years to where we get to Everest very early in the marathon and the park's not open. So obviously the attraction's not running. I've had 50-50 luck riding Rock and Roller Coaster. Now this came down to a cast member decision. The one year that I went through, this was when Everest was open, but I skipped it. You get to Hollywood Studios at about mile 22. So it's later in the day. The park's been open for a while. Now, if you're smart, well, I guess, I don't know, maybe if you book Genie Plus, this could be the new hack for 2022. Here's the thing, because back in the day, you could have had a fast pass for Rock and Roller Coaster and gone through the fast pass line. What I did was I threw myself at the mercy of the cast member at the fast pass plus return spot. I said, I'm running the marathon and I really would love to ride this ride during the marathon and get the picture. And she was like, that is awesome. Just jump in. I was like, yeah. And I got on and I was stinking. I'd run 23 miles. I was so sweaty. The people that were riding with, and I was by myself. So the people that were riding with me, they didn't even speak English. They were just like, what is going on? The picture was awesome though. It was a great picture and it was a great experience. Rode it at mile 23. The next year, I was like, I'm going to do this again. That cast member would not budge, did not let me in. The wait time was 75 minutes. I was like, dang, I'm not riding anything. So you just got to, whatever. I was tired anyway. So I just wanted to get done. It was really hot. That was 2020. So I didn't care. I was like, I'm probably not going to make the next 2 miles anyway. So you can. I mean, it's up to your own risk, but you may, if you think about Genie Plus, maybe you could make that work. I don't know, but you could, you're not supposed to technically jump off the course to do these things. It's actually illegal and can get you disqualified from the race, but there's not like officials everywhere. So just have fun with it though. I mean, that's the whole thing. And you could jump out. We always get pictures with our friends. Like Pam's been there and we jump out and get pictures. So you're gonna have a blast though. It's so fun. It felt just like a regular race weekend. I was wondering how it would feel. It felt like a regular race weekend. No difference. All right. So let's see here. Jeff's got a question in the live chat. He says, what are you guys planning for transportation from the airport after the first of the year? Ride shares, car service, mirrors? Let's see. Car rental prices are outrageous for marathon weekend and trying to figure out the best option without sitting at the airport a long time and trying to quickly get to the expo Wednesday morning. So Pam, what are you thinking? Because we got Mears Connect coming up. Basically, it's not a one-to-one kind of thing with Magical Express because there are more options. You can kind of personalize it. Magical Express was just, here's the service. You sign up. This is what you get. You go to 4 or 5 resorts sometimes. This is how it is. You can kind of customize Mears Connect more than you can, could Magical Express. But what would you do? I mean, besides renting a car, because car rental prices are crazy right now.
Yeah, what I'm really looking at? I'm looking at the private car rental. And we have a few companies that we work with that we've had great success with and just have been partners with them for a while. And I think if you have 3 or more people, you're actually going to come out better than the price of the Mears Connect, which is basically a shuttle-like service. Oftentimes you can pay more for like a more private service, but most people are looking at that Mears Connect. So if you have that many people, probably the private car thing is going to work better for you. And I'm also going to take that for a number of reasons. First of all, my time is valuable when I'm there, like so valuable. I want someone holding my name on a sign, pick me up and take me if I'm going to ride if somebody else is doing the driving, right?
That's always the coolest thing to have somebody with your name on
it. It is, right?
One time that happened for me at a media event, dude, I took a picture with him. I was like, I sent it to my wife. I'm like, Pam, I've made it in the world. I have a guy in a suit with an iPad with my name on it.
For sure. For sure. And some of them will actually do a grocery stop for you, which is another thing that's kind of important to me. We drink a ton of water, Steve and I. So I want to have a case of water delivered. And if I'm staying over a certain number of days, I need to have a couple of them. And we make coffee in the morning and I can't use the Florida water because it makes the coffee taste bad and all these things. So this is another thing that is a bonus to me, but definitely I would consider one of the car services there. Private, it's at your disposal. And I think that that's really important. So.
But if you're a single, in Jeff's case, I don't know if he's a single. Like if I'm going down marathon week, here's what I'm thinking for the first, because this will be my first time non-Magical Express, right? When I go down for marathon, it's just me. And I probably will be doing the same thing that Jeff's doing just to get it out of the way. I will probably go straight to the expo. So but the only problem is then I got to have my bags with me. That's the only issue is I have my stuff with me. And, when you're doing dopey, you're there from like Wednesday to Monday and you got all your junk. I mean, you got to take like a regular suitcase. Like I have my roll on, my carry-on suitcase with all my running stuff because I keep all that stinky stuff separate from my regular clothes, and then a backpack. I probably won't go to the hotel first. Now I think about it, just drop all that junk off. So I'm not wheeling that all around ESPN, but I will probably just do a Uber or a Lyft.
They've been challenging this. I will tell you.
I know
they aren't as plentiful as they once were. And at times that surge pricing, like literally it goes from like what is $9 to get from resort to resort to one night. It was $40 for us to go from a resort, right? And so then I was just like, oh man, I
Everything
know.
is so expensive right now.
I
Holy
know
cow.
it is. And that's another reason why I feel like the car thing, you know what I mean? You're sort of locked into that. So I agree. Like, I think it's a combination of both, of many different things, but you're right. But I just wanted to mention that thing about Uber and Lyft. Like, there were a few times this weekend that we got burnt.
And it will be. I mean, think about it. That Wednesday of, everybody, because all the runners are getting there at the same time. And I mean, you're talking 20,000 runners will be getting there on Wednesday, all trying to do the same thing at the same time. It'll be surge pricing.
Yeah.
I bet you it'll be $100 to get to Walt Disney World easy. It's usually around 50 at the most.
Right. Yes. And during times when things are going to be busy like that too, that's going to impact the Mears Connect thing as well, right? If you're taking a shuttle service and there are tons of people that day, you will see sort of the same thing that you run into with Magical Express when there's a ton of people. There will be a line for that. So, I mean, there's going to be lots of different options that people can take. But I think you need to think about what's important to you.
Yeah, you can start planning now rather than
exactly get something locked down
first. Yep. All right, Len, my good buddy here says, looking forward to an adults only trip December 22nd, mostly to enjoy the decorations. Is there a sweet spot between Thanksgiving and Christmas for lower crowds? Probably a 3-park day trip. So what's that sweet spot right now for after Thanksgiving, before Christmas, a few days? What would you say? Like if you had to give them a little range?
Gosh, it's so hard to even say this year because things look so very different than they have in the past. But actually, in years leading up to this year, that week after Thanksgiving really was not bad. That was kind of a good time to go. And the first week of December is typically a good time to go. Then you see crowds creeping up a little bit until it gets to be Christmas. And then that's when between Christmas and New Year's is, of course, the busiest time that there is. It's what's amazing to me? We still get folks reaching out to us that are like, you know what, we want to go between Christmas and New Year's because I heard, I'm thinking that this is not a very busy time. And then we always have to sort of let them know it's actually the most busy time.
The most wonderfully busy time of the year.
It totally
There's a song about that somewhere. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, both you and I have done that week. I mean, I've done it
100 times. Yeah.
Because my wife and I are both teachers, right? And we had the best time, but you got to adjust expectations and you got to adjust how you tour the parks. You got to be there way before park opening, duck out at lunch, have some resort time, have your meals at resorts. But I mean, the bonus is you get to see all the decorations. You get to do all the extra stuff. You get to see the gingerbread house at the Grand. You get to see the carousel at the beach club. You get to take in all this extra stuff. So it's a great time to be there. But I mean, it is. It's not the time. Well, I mean, with Genie Plus now, you also have, you may get to do quite a few more attractions than under normal circumstances.
Yeah.
It's weird. Yeah, but the weirdest thing is so that first week of December used to be kind of a really sweet spot, but like it was hard to get a hotel room because Pop Warner took all the rooms, right? And this year Pop Warner has moved over to Universal. It's not hosted at ESPN anymore. However, we've seen as travel agents that those rooms at all the resorts for like that first week of December have been gone. I mean, for months and months. And I haven't talked to you about this, Pam, but what I'm guessing is that maybe some of these families that have maybe grown up through the Pop Warner cheerleading and football, program, because they have multiple kids, maybe they're just more comfortable because they've stayed at Disney, over the years, that they're staying at Disney still and just going over to Universal for the events. Because the hotels are still gone, even though the championships are not being held there. I don't know.
I think what we're seeing is, I think we're seeing sort of still a scarcity of Disney rooms for a number of reasons. First of all, all the resorts aren't open yet. I think they still have staffing issues. That's not an insider thing. It's just from what we've seen. I mean, rooms are being available sort of later, right? In the beginning, when they first reopened, whenever you got there, regardless of the time you got there, your room was typically ready because they had rooms available. That's not the case anymore. We just see a scarcity of workers in that space. And I think that's sort of limiting their rooms, the number of rooms that are available. We also see a resurgence of travel in a way that I think is really even hard to predict, or was hard for us to predict, how much people have missed travel and are therefore taking trips, taking more trips, taking longer trips, taking all kinds of trips. So I think the thing that we have learned from this is, if you're planning a trip, plan early. If you possibly can, because we are seeing times when rooms are just sold out that we didn't anticipate, or that the only rooms that are available are, the more expensive ones. So just lots of things to keep in mind. Travel's back, my friends. I mean, it's back in a big way.
The thing you have to remember is these deposits are refundable. So it is just it's that security, because I see that this is happening with runners, right? They announced the surprise, spring surprise Run Disney weekend, which they're bringing back a lot of the beloved races, like the Everest 5K, the Race for the Taste 10K, and the Tower of Terror 10 miler, which is kind of cool. And then everybody's jumping on that. Well, the folks that were the early birds that they knew the weekend, but they didn't know what the events were. A lot of folks had already booked up the hotel room. So you want to do that now. You don't want to wait and make your decision in February, because those rooms are going to be gone. Yes. So if you want to get a room, just lock it in. If you decide not to go in February, cancel. You get the money back. It's not a big deal, but let me know and I'll take care of that for you. So jump on that. We'll take care of you. Okay. Kevin's got a question. Let's kind of rip through some of these. Do you think I'll be able to get the new 50th anniversary pass holder card when I go to the parks mid-December? Yeah, I mean, so what I did and Scott did, we did this on October 1st. We just went to guest relations at City Hall at the Magic Kingdom. We gave them our yellow card, our annual pass card, and they just gave us the new iridescent one.
They're scarce, though. I have heard.
Really?
I have heard that in some locations, they only want to give you the new card if you're actually renewing a pass.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So
a little swappy.
I know. So, supply chain issues, my friends.
Oh my gosh, even on iridescent AP card, you got to be kidding me. Oh gosh, Taco Bell goes scarce, I'm done. Holy cow. Well, no, December's not too far off.
Right.
We'll see. Hopefully it'll make up. Okay. Christopher Chabot in the chat's got, he has a question. Hey, Mike, Pam, my mini moon was so successful. We ended up with both AP. We both ended up with their AP and DVC members. I would say that is very successful mini moon. We're now planning a trip with my family this coming September. Are in a bit of a pickle. My parents typically like to stay in a moderate, and we always join them. We could see the disappointment on my mom's face when I told her we'd be using our points at a deluxe and could meet up with her for dinner and trips to the parks. For that reason, we're trying to find a good DVC moderate combo to call home for the week. I think there's an obvious answer here, but curious if there's other suggestions you might have and why. Thanks in advance, Chris. I think he's talking about the combo would be the Riviera Caribbean Beach. Probably that's what I'm thinking, because that kind of scratches everybody's itch, right? You got the deluxe Riviera, really hot resort. It's got everything you want. Caribbean Beach is a really good moderate choice. You're on the Skyliner, great location. I mean, you take those two and it's a great solution. I think it's testing me.
I agree. I think the other thing you can always think of is, I know your parents, you said your parents usually do moderate. Check to see what the studio pricing is for that time too. Maybe you can convince them to stay at the same resort you are, which would give you a lot of different options. In addition, when you're looking at pricing, Old Key West and Saratoga are always going to be your least expensive moderates. So maybe check the pricing there. And I will say both of those are in such a great location, because you have boat transportation to Disney Springs, or if you're at Saratoga, you can walk to Disney Springs. And that opens up a world of possibilities when it comes to dining. So
good call. All right, Kath's got a question. Pam, hey, Pam and Mike, any word on when All-Star Sports is going to reopen? Did you get any word? You were in meetings. It's like the last one.
No,
where are you, baby?
No, we don't know for sure when that's going to open. So that's where we're at right now.
All right, let's see here. Amy's in the live chat. Hey, does anyone know if All-Star Music provides free transportation to the ESPN Sports Center, ESPN Wide World of Sports? My daughter is playing in the President's Day soccer tournament, and I'm hoping to entice the team to stay on property, particularly if cheaper and more convenient overall. So typically with those kind of events, because I've been there with cheerleading and it's all kind of Disney sports related, if there's a contract with the teams, that's the thing, is you gotta, like when we go, we book, it's not even our gym, it's the entire All-Star cheerleading foundation or whatever. I mean, it's like a 150 gyms from around the country can all stay at either Coronado, All-Star Sports. They give us like 4 hotels, Riverside, whatever. But part of the deal is that they do provide transportation to the ESPN Wide World of Sports, like on a continuous loop, which is why, it's part of the deal. It entices you to want to stay there because it's a big perk. So I wouldn't say that if you just stay there as your team, that you would have that transportation locked in. It would be something that would be negotiated in the contract as the saying. Do I have that right, Pam? Because you deal more with like the contract and the group stuff.
For sure. Yeah, that's how it's going to work. It's something that the group arranges to see if there's transportation from that. Traditionally, the ESPN Wide World of Sports is not something that Disney has buses running there all the time. They do during Run Disney events to pick up packets and things like that, but the group would have to arrange that transportation. I
will say though, if you stay at Art of Animation or Pop Century, you are really close to ESPN Wide World of Sports. And if you wanted to just jump over in a ride share, you're there in 5 minutes. So maybe not the All-Stars, but if you're looking at the other values, because basically they're just right up Victory Way and you're there, especially Art of Animation. Pop Century is just another probably 100 yards. So maybe consider that. And being on site's a huge perk. Trust me, because again, go back and listen to all the cheerleading ones where we've stayed at the Disney Springs hotels for cheerleading. It's paying the rear for us when we don't stay at a Disney.
100%. Yes.
Because we do it every year and I complain every April. Happening again this year because it seems like they have a good squad this year. Jennifer, here's a good one for you, Pam, because you're just back. Compiling my snack list for my upcoming trip in 2 weeks. What are your must-have holiday snacks? What good holiday snacks did you get?
Well, so a lot of them don't start until December. I know there's a bunch of them, but you saw Disney Parks blog had a list with pictures, which, they're real good at that taking pictures kind of thing when they're talking about snacks, right? I mean, all these pictures, but some of the things that sort of stood out to me. Okay, first of all, at Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge, did you see that they're calling it a ginger-giraffe? It's like gingerbread, and it had this Christmas tree and then a giraffe in front of it. It looks awesome, but I thought that's just the cutest thing. They do such a great job with that. Over at the Boardwalk Bakery, there's lots of good things to choose from, but I thought the gingerbread boy cupcake looked really good there too. They also have, I think every resort has some great stuff that you can choose from. The Contemporary, again, they had a pumpkin pie tart, Linzer cookie, a Yule log. I mean, all these things. At the Grand Floridian, we actually had the opportunity to try one of their fall things, and they had a pumpkin cake pop. Now, this is not one of the little cake pops that you see when you go to Starbucks, right?
I haven't seen a cake pop in like 2 years at Walt Disney World. Like all of a sudden they were everywhere, and because Mallory loves them and always brought them home for, and then they were nowhere to be found. Like,
well, I know it's crazy. So the cake pop at the Grand Floridian was like this big. Like it was definitely like 4 or 5 cake pops. So that would be worth doing. But they're doing one for Christmas too, and I'm looking for it. It's a pumpkin pie cake pop. Oof. So I thought that was kind of cool. Lots of good stuff. But I think go over to the Parks blog, check out that blog where they have all the different pictures. They're doing some cool stuff. And in addition, they're also doing desserts for the 50th too. So it's like you're going to have the best of both worlds. You have no shortage of snacks from which to choose.
And the thing that I'm looking for, that I keep seeing the pictures for, which is my favorite holiday thing, which is coming back, is the holiday whoopie pie.
Oh yeah,
that big old, like red thing with the white, the sprinkles,
I know,
the cream in the middle. Oh man, I think it's so good.
They're doing drinks too. Like different places are doing holiday drinks. Like I was amazed by this. Like at Geyser Point, they're doing martinis around the world flight. Hello. They're having a key lime pie martini, a poinsettia, an Italian. I mean, just so many good things there. So yeah, check that out.
All right, let's get to, we're about out of time here. So let's get to the last question of the day. It's from Carrie here in the live chat. Says hello from the boardwalk pool. How about that? You are still winning.
Yeah, for sure.
That is not even right. And was the scary clown's not even there anymore, right? Did they take the scary clown out when they rethemed it to the coaster?
They did.
What is it now? What do you get spat out of? Is it just a
scene from the yeah.
Where do you think they put that clown face? You know, it's somewhere backstage.
Haunting someone's dreams.
It's somewhere in your dream. Anyway, Carrie says, do you have any recommendations for a great dinner spot at either Boardwalk or Yacht and Beach? And you know what? They can't go to Flying Fish tonight because it's not open, Pam. That's your spot.
No. So I have another one though. And Ale and Compass is a great spot. I mean, really, the food, any meal that you get to have there is a good meal. If you can't get in, if you can't make an ADR, then you can visit the lounge and they'll let you order from the full menu if you would like. So that's another spot. And they also have Ale and Compass is one of those locations too, where you can do a walk up. You can join the walk up list on your app. So check that out as well.
I think, also, I mean, it depends. Like after a pool day, see, I have a kind of a different feel. Like if I'm in the pool all day down at Walt Disney World, like beaches and cream, if you could get in.
I know, right?
It's just like you get in there. But Ale and Compass is kind of, to me, it feels fancy, but it kind of doesn't at the same time. It's one of those that it feels fancy, but also kind of casual at the same time. And it's just,
I think it feels fancy because the food is just good.
The food's really good, and it's like dark. I think whenever I go to a restaurant, it feels fancy, even though it's kind of casual too, in the same way.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. You're right.
Good choices. Man, have fun. Remember sunscreen. I don't know how sunny it is down there. Probably good.
Just November. Soak up that sun.
Yes. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's listener question show. If you have a question, drop it to me via email. Just put listener question in the header over at Mike at BeOurGuestPodcast.com. We'll get to that next week for you. Don't forget, today's show is brought to you by the Magic for Less Travel. We'd sure love to help you with that next Disney vacation, whether it's to Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or even Adventures by Disney. We'll help you out. Just drop by themagicforless.com. Great place to start that planning because you can see all the resort guides, all the specials, everything you need to kind of think about things. And then while you're there, fill out the quote form, put some dates, resorts, who's going. Doesn't have to be exact. That's just where we get started. That's where the conversation starts. Then we'll put some numbers together for you, check that availability like we were talking about, and go from there. But we'd love to kind of always get you the best price, put you in the best spot possible so that you have the most fun when you get down there and make those memories with the folks you're traveling with. So again, drop by themagicforless.com today, fill out that quote, mention the show, and we'll be planning a great trip together. Again, themagicforless.com. Also, as you do that holiday shopping, which you need to start yesterday, use our Amazon affiliate link, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. That really does help us out. It's one extra click, no problem at all. Takes you right back to the Amazon site, beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you to our patrons who support the show each and every month. I appreciate you guys so very much. And our patrons get a bonus show every Thursday. It's called Mike in the Midwest. And this week is going to be a good one. I'm going to talk about my quick trip down to Walt Disney World for the 10K, which I actually ran pretty fast. And I'll tell you why on this week's Mike in the Midwest. So join us over there. You get a bonus show every week and you support the podcast. And I appreciate that very much. Patreon.com/BeOurGuestPodcast. Give us a follow on the social media at BeOurGuestMike on Instagram and Twitter. Follow Pam at TMFLTPam. You can follow Ricky. She's out in Hawaii right now at Ricky Nibs. She's just living the life. I'm just telling you. She's rubbing it in. So you don't have to like all of her pictures on Instagram, but she get a kick out of it. And of course, at Epcot, Scott's down there at Walt Disney World here for another day or two. So check him out as well. All right, we're going to get out of here and we'll be back together again on Friday. Pam's going to talk about using Genie Plus and all the time she saved going, avoiding the lines. And also she was down there quite a bit, got to do a lot of other fun stuff. So trip report from being in the parks just in the past few days for the kind of kickoff to the holiday season 2021. So stand by for that. So until we talk again on Friday, for Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to get back to work, and we'll see you real soon. Let me save that one. Thanks for all the questions, guys. Sorry we didn't get to everybody's. Man, we had so many questions.
We did have a bunch of questions.
We're recording Tuesday mornings from now on, I guess.
I know, right?
Gotta get Ricky out of a job so we can do this.
We'll make her do her lunch break.
Yes, lunch break show. What would you recommend for an adult's trip? That's when you splurge on a Deluxe resort and just
A
hang
good
out.
resort. Yeah,
Yep.
I would do definitely a good resort, some good dining,
Yep.
and they're starting to open things back up again, like Jelly Rolls and Atlantic Dance and
Yes.
things like that. So take that opportunity.
Yes. All right, let's do your here. Let's go with this one. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 1995 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. And it is a big Friday here in Weldon Spring, Missouri. Our Francis Howell Vikings are continuing their quest for a state championship in the 6A football. Here in Missouri, we take on the Troy Buchanan. I don't even know what their mascot is, but it doesn't matter because they're going down tonight at the H. This is the district championship, and we move on to the Final Four. If we win tonight, it's going to be cold. I mean, it's going to be super cold tonight at the H, but it's going to be awesome because it's the last home game of the year. After this, we move on to the big venues. And so if you're around and you're listening to the show, because I know we do have listeners here in the Westplex and, St. Charles County, come up to the H tonight, but you got to buy your tickets online. But we'll see you at the H for a big Vikings win. Nothing better than supporting your local teams. Mallory's not even in high school yet. Next year she will be. That scares me to death. But it's just fun to get out there. The whole town comes out. The local insurance agent, he tweeted earlier this week, he's buying tickets to any student who wants to go. You just got to show your ID. He's paying the cost. This guy, I know, he's insane. I'm like, these people support this football team like it's a college team. It's crazy. That dude's in for a couple grand at least. So anyway, we're gonna have a good time tonight. So I'll be tweeting from the H. Hopefully we get a big win. I'm worried, but I think we'll be okay. We played this team to a 1-point victory earlier this season. We beat them on a 99-yard drive at the very end of the game. No timeouts left. It was intense. Hopefully it's not this intense. This old dude can't take it to the game like that. Let's just win this one big. So joining me today, we're not talking football. We're talking Disney. She's just back. She's your friend. She's my friend. We have Pam. She's the co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday, Pam.
Happy Friday. I talked about my absurd purchase on Wednesday's show, my holiday Star Wars leggings, which, I think should be in everyone's closet.
Oh, yeah, or at least in everybody's stocking,
Yes, they're leggings, so they can fold up real small and put them in. Yes, exactly. But another thing I got, which is behind me in Galaxy's Edge, I'm always buying something in Galaxy's Edge. There are these wooden, sort of things. I know this is radio, sort of podcasting, so you can't all see them. But the people who are watching now, and they sort of spin, like they remind me of these little spinner books, where you could match somebody else's legs with the middle, with the head,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Used to do that. But anyways, they have these Star Wars characters I bought one before, and then I bought another one this time, primarily because it had Boba Fett on it, which if he's not the coolest character of all. They used to have 3 of them. They had one too that had Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers on it as well. They did not have that right now. She said they thought they were getting in, but as we mentioned on the other show, supply chain.
Yeah, supply. I mean, that supply chain from Endor. That is,
I know it's
kinds of backups in the outer rim.
Right, it's affecting the universe, I guess. So, anyways, yeah.
It's a mess. That's a cool little thing. I mean,
I know it is.
Everything in Batuu is authentic. So, that little laughing guy that sits in Jabba's palace probably made that. I forgot what his name is. But,
yes.
Yes.
Crow.
He has a name. I can't remember. Somebody told me his name. Anyway, so we are going to jump in and talk Disney. We want to make sure we jump in because we got a lot to talk about today. Pam, you were down there for quite a while. You were there actually on behalf of the travel agency, a big meeting for the travel agencies.
Yes.
And getting up to date with everything that's going on because things are changing kind of quickly in 2021 when it comes to Walt Disney World and how trips get together. And then you also had some obviously fun times to explore and also use Genie Plus for the first time hands-on in the park. So I really kind of want to turn it over to you and make this your show. So how can you help everybody in the audience get excited for the next trip and also have a better next trip?
Yes. So, anyways, I do want to mention that guy's name, Java's friend, Salacious B. Crumb is who it
There
is.
we go. Tim jumped in there right there with you.
Oh,
Yeah.
seriously, I didn't even see that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. Keep
Yes, good.
capitalizing. I guess maybe you don't have to
No.
capitalize in outer space. I don't know.
No, for sure, right? So yeah, so I was down there for what is the Earmarked Travel Agency Center, Earmarked Agency Owner Summit. It's a summit they have for the agency owners, and me and our guest and agent coordinator Audie got to attend. And this is a conference that they have for us about once a year. It's maybe a little more, and it's to get agency owners together to sort of help us, with selling the Disney product. And it's to familiarize, some of those agency owners don't quite go as often as our team goes, right?
I know.
Our team is very committed to this. So there's someone in the parks from our team pretty much every day of the year. But to do that and then to get together with some of the Disney leadership and talk about that. We were very lucky that Josh Tomorrow was there and made an appearance for us. But they also did something really fun that I thought our listeners would be interested in. They had Kurt Russell, who is really part of the Disney story and has been for so long, appeared and he talked to us about his wine. Gogi Wines is his winery and really his passion. You can tell that. I've seen him with this wine before. He's talked about it, and he is just so passionate about it. But he told us some great Disney stories, and it was really fantastic to have the opportunity to do that. So a lot of meetings, a lot of knowledge. It always, we come back sort of revved and thinking about how we can serve our agents and our guests better. And I think it's always good to have some kind of conference like that in your life. But one of the things I did get to do was try out Genie Plus when I was there. Now, we had agents in the park who went down specifically for the day it was going to be launched, right? So that they could try it out. So we knew what to advise guests on, but I had the chance to do it in person. And I will tell you, it was really eye-opening, just a few things about it. So, I'll talk a little bit about that today. I took notes, actually, while I was in the parks, just because I wanted to get it right, when I'm communicating the value of it. So I know that that's the big question. Is it worth it?
Let me ask you this, because we did the listener question show earlier, and one of the questions that we didn't get to, which I think is a kind of a good way to kick this off, was, I'm trying to find it here, was from Michael in the live chat. And he asked, does getting to the park at opening for resort guests negate the need to get Genie Plus? And so from what I'm seeing is, I think it would complement it, but I still think, we've talked about this again. I haven't used it because I went down, but I was there in a brief thing. I had some stuff come up, so I didn't get into the parks. I just ran the race. But I think the thing we got to remember is, you don't, just because of Genie Plus, which I think is going to be a great service and it's going to give you a huge leg up, is that you also don't want to throw out those great tips we've learned over the past decade or 15 years as far as getting their park opening. You can still get so much done if you really are somebody who's trying to maximize the amount of attractions you're getting in during the day. I don't know. So you talk about that. What'd you see?
That's what I did. So we sort of used it in conjunction with getting there at the parks. For sure. And that 30 minutes, I know that there's been sort of, before it happened, people were like, 30 minutes, what does that get you? I will tell you, it really does get you a good head start in the parks, and it sort of keeps you ahead of the crowd the whole day. So that's what we did. I really enjoyed that. And then we also used it with Genie Plus, because at Genie Plus, you can not only use it at the park that you made your park reservation for that day, but if you have a park hopper on your ticket, you can use Genie Plus at the next park after you park hop. So I think that having both of those in using them together really was the way to go. It was. And the other thing I want to mention is, if you've booked a package, Genie Plus can be added to your package for each day of your ticket. And I think that's probably the service I found more valuable, Genie Plus, over the individual lightning lanes. And here's why. So we found that if we got to the parks and used that extra 30 minutes, we focused on the attractions that offered the individual lightning
Good
lane.
call. That's a good call. Yeah,
Right?
the biggest
I know.
ones. Yeah.
It did. And the lines were shorter. Now, using Genie, the free part of the service also gives you different tips and when it will predict when all the attractions will have shorter lines or when would be a good time to do that. And I think that that would be another way to approach the individual lightning lane attractions, because in the later afternoons, we often saw those times for those individual lightning lane attractions work. And just before we jump too far into it, I want to just go over again what the different components of this are. So there is the Genie service, the Disney Genie service, and that is free and included in your app. You will see it there. It offers you tips and other things to do during the day. There is Genie Plus, which is the thing that you pay $15 per day for, that gives you lightning lane access to almost all the attractions. In every park, there are 2 attractions that it does not give you individual lightning lane access to, because those are the ones that you pay for those specific attractions. That's it. There's only 2 in each park that you have to pay an additional amount if you want to use it. And we were able to ride those during that 30 minutes most of the time. So
it's a good tip. If you don't want to, get there early, do those first, and then just use your Genie Plus. Yeah.
We did. So I will tell you, on our day at the Magic Kingdom, this is what we were able to ride before 1 o'clock. Ready for this? This is going to be a whirlwind, I think. Buzz, Seven Dwarfs, Peter Pan, Haunted Mansion, the Tiki Birds, Big Thunder, Pirates, It's a Small World. So we did all of that by 1 o'clock using Genie Plus. And I'll sort of give you an insight into how we chose to do that. But again, as I said, we got there, and in that first 30 minutes, we were going right to Seven Dwarfs, right? Because that's what we wanted to make sure that we rode that attraction. Once we did that, we started looking to see what the wait times were like. And we found the wait times to be fairly accurate when you're looking at Genie Plus. The only thing that we found is we may wait just a little bit more or a little bit less than the time up there mentioned, as always it has been.
Yep.
Peter Pan during that first 30 minutes was actually something we could do. And you know how quickly Peter Pan, that line gets higher and higher and higher. So we were really lucky to do that in the morning. We did not ride the other attraction that has individual lightning lane, which is Space Mountain at the Magic Kingdom, right? That one.
No, yeah, it is Space Mountain. And I
Right.
mean, some people are going to choose to ride it because they love it, and some people are going to choose to ride it because it breaks their back. I mean, I'm getting to the point where, I mean, some days I probably won't ride it just because it's getting uncomfortable for me, even though I love
Right.
to ride.
Yes, I know. So with Genie Plus, you can make your first choice of an attraction at 7 a.m. that morning. So we chose Big Thunder because that was seeming to have it was an attraction that wasn't too far into the day that I would be able to ride it soon after we had entered. And I think we ended up riding it at let's say like 10 o'clock. So sometime during that time we rode Big Thunder. But as soon as you tap in for the second time with your lightning lane at the lightning lane attraction, you can choose another attraction. And after we rode Big Thunder, my only goal at that point was to play the rolling fast pass game, right?
Right.
I chose
used to work. Yeah.
Yes, I chose the next attraction that had a lightning lane reservation available soon after this, and most of them had one that was like within 5 minutes of this. So after that, I started doing that. I chose Small World and then Pirates and Haunted Mansion and things like that. But I think that is really a good way to look at it. If what your goal is to get a lot of attractions done, just look at what you can do that doesn't have a long wait until that lightning lane attraction is up. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, did you make your first choice? You mentioned, because, if you're on site, you can do this at 7 a.m. That's kind of one of the advantages to being an on-site guest for having Genie Plus. Did you get up and do that at 7 a.m. or
I did
do it as you got up? Okay.
No, I did do it at 7. I wanted to be that. Some of them, and my goal in that was to have something that I wanted a reservation in the morning. Like I didn't want my first lightning lane reservation to be at noon or later, because that would sort of interfere with that. Now, the other thing to know with Genie Plus is that, let's say I'm making a reservation and the first time is more than 2 hours from, the time I'm making it, then in 2 hours, I could have chosen another attraction, just like the old Fast Pass used to work.
Right.
Sort of.
Yeah, I remember. Because like right here, I have them sitting here, the old paper ones forever.
Right.
And it tells you like you can come back. Next Fast Pass is available after 10:05 a.m. So it tells, it's kind of how it used to work back then. Let me ask you this though. Okay. So what about, I'm curious because I think we're all kind of figuring out, that's how I'm going to use it too. It's kind of like how the old rolling Fast Passes worked. I will, go through the second touch point. Okay. Then I've kind of redeemed my initial one. I'm going to see what's available like immediately after this, like within 5 minutes. That's probably how I see it, especially Magic Kingdom, where the proximity of the attractions are close. Like if you're at Peter Pan, you can easily go to like Small World or Haunted Mansion. You can get on things quick.
Yes.
Let me ask you this though. What about things like the tip board and the kind of the AI, the suggestions that it was throwing out to you throughout the day? What did you think of those things?
I think it's sort of mixed. And I'll tell you that this is sort of a data-driven process, right? So Disney is gathering data. It's in the early stages of this. I think, first of all, a lot of criticism I have heard from the tips was from people who really didn't take the time to indicate what they were interested in, go through the process. So there is a process on the app where you sort of indicate what is important to you during what they're calling your Genie Day, right? So you get to choose, what kind of things interest you. Are you interested in Star Wars? Are you interested in this? It will vary according to park, right? Mm-hmm. But it's going to look at different themes, different types of rides, different things that you're interested in, different things you want to do. You even have the option to say, okay, these are the specific attractions. Like you can break it down to that. And I think by taking a little bit of time before you arrive there, then it will offer you more meaningful suggestions in that space. So that's something to consider too.
Which I think we're all kind of getting more used to that kind of the way things work, right? Because like with my Apple News, when you subscribe to Apple News,
right,
like Spotify or, whatever it is, or Apple Music, the longer you take during the onboarding and you say, okay, I'm a fan of like this artist, this genre, I can't stand this kind of stuff, but I mean, if you're one of those people that just like subscribe and then you're just like, okay, you got it. It tells you have to hit a minimum of 3 things. Just like boop, 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 you hit 3 things.
Right.
You're obviously not going to get back great results because you're not giving the algorithm much information to work with. But hopefully though, especially with folks listening to our show, I don't know if this is true or not, but I would imagine it is. Think of the data mining that can go on after 6 months, after a year, after 2 years, after say, 3 trips, 5 trips, 7 trips, and they know like where you go, where you tend to, like every time you go to the Magic Kingdom, you always go to the Tiki Birds for some reason, or like you spend a lot of time in Adventureland. I don't know if it's like that deep, but it could be, I think really, really smart, really fast but I mean, it could also get kind of like spook people out too with how smart it could get.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I think the other thing too was that if you get a suggestion and say you're looking at it and you're like, I'm never going to do that, or I don't want this suggestion, you have the ability to remove that as a suggestion as well. You can just click and say, please remove this from my suggestions or think, so that's something you can do too. You can really personalize it to you. And I think we're going to continue to get more and more information and more tips as this is out there longer. Like this is the process of doing it and using it. But when I tell you, like, those are the attractions, that was just at the first park that we were able to do with Genie Plus. To me, that was before 1 o'clock. That was a ton of attractions. And I will say, we stopped for a snack. One of those attractions was It's a Small World. How long that attraction takes. We did Tiki Birds in that again, which is a longer show. So I just felt like we got a ton done. And not only that, we played around with the lenses that you can have, the PhotoPass lenses.
Snapchat, look out.
Yes, they were fantastic. And Steve, my husband, said to me, he was like, this itself is worth the $15, like just the lenses. To be able to get the pictures of the castle, you can get You can do the overlay of the cake, but you can do it when it was built. I mean, that was really cool. And they had all these different lenses you could choose from too. So for us, it really added to our experience.
That's interesting. I mean, the trade-off is we are getting more and more and more into our phones, right? We've gotten there where you are very, very invested into your phone. So I would definitely go down with an external battery
Yes.
or two. I mean, just something to think about. Of course, they do have fuel rods and stuff, but I always say, pack the voltage, make sure you have it, records, everything set to go. But
yes, but I didn't see more people on their phones. I do want to say that because I heard that as a big thing too. And I'm like, no, I mean, do the Genie Plus thing throughout. And then as soon as you tap in, it takes 30 seconds to make another reservation. Then you're on your way. So
I'm on my phone all the time because I'm on Instagram, Twitter all the time. So it's just my perspective. So let me ask you one other thing about that. Because give us an example, because I think the Magic Kingdom is like the perfect use of Genie.
I agree.
Give us one of the other parks, because I think that it's a little more like, okay, what about the Studios, Epcot, or Animal Kingdom? So give us an example of a day that you used it over there. And did you ever use an individual lightning lane the entire time? Did you buy it?
We didn't feel like we needed to. So that's another thing. So at Hollywood Studios, again, there are only 2 attractions in each park that have individual lightning lane, and that's where you pay to access that attraction only. So at the studios, those 2 are Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and oh my gosh, why?
Rise.
Thank you. And Rise. I'm like, why is it escaping me?
That's kind of the big one.
Kind of a big one. But that means that Slinky Dog Dash is not one. That is included with regular Genie Plus. So that I thought was huge, because what the lines for that are like. The fact that using the 30 minutes, getting in there, or using your option to, make Slinky Dog Dash as the first Genie Plus attraction that you're going to get. I think that was huge. And then you can also use it. I found it really sort of convenient to use it at shows too, because then I knew like I'm going to be able to get into that show, or, and sometimes you don't know. Sometimes the line is so long that you're sort of held off until the next show, or you have sort of a seat that's not that great, or something like that. So that was cool. Did I need it for Muppets? No. But did I use it for Muppets? Yes. I mean, it was like there, and I did it, and I walked in. So, I liked that too. But I think at each park, if you look at the attractions that you can use it on, there are some options there. And I think we're going to keep discovering more and better ways to use that system to our advantage. So
the way I'm seeing it too is that it's, again, I haven't used it yet. I'll be using it a lot over Marathon Weekend, but I'll be solo that time, which is really an advantage because I can move a lot faster solo. And that's a perfect use of Genie Plus.
Yeah.
Is that the thing is, it's like a security blanket to me, right? It's almost like it's like an insurance policy, almost like you've invested this much money in going down to Walt Disney World, and in your mind's eye, say your trip's in March, and the whole time leading up to that September, October, November, December, you have in your mind's eye how this trip's going to go. And you see the commercials on TV, everybody riding the teacups, everybody, riding on Seven Dwarves and doing Rise and all this stuff. And when you get there, sometimes the crowds can be, bigger than you're expecting. The wait times can be longer, where when you look at the overall budget of and again, I talk about this all the time. I'm the cheapest guy in the world. Everybody knows that. I mean, Scott and I are like opposite. We're good buddies, but we're like opposite. Like he goes to Citrico's and I go to Casey's. Like that's my jam. Like I'll get corn dog nuggets, dude. He'll eat it up at California Grill. And that is where I fall kind of on I'm a cheapskate. But the thing is, like, I'm kind of coming around to where you don't want to pay, you don't want to go to like 99% on your Disney vacation and then try to save $15 and just miss out on that, really having a premium experience where you could have just saved. Because the thing is, when we say like you might save 2 or 3 hours in the park, where does that 2 or 3 hours go? That could be 2 or 3 hours poolside at your resort. I mean, you're buying time to enjoy maybe a Stormalong Bay if you're staying at Yachter Beach, or you're in the boardwalk pool, or, Port Orleans Riverside, Old Muddy Island. I mean, time to go to Disney Springs and enjoy, Deluxe Burger. You're buying time to do other things where you might not have that if you save that $15 for the day. And I mean, you've already invested all this money in your vacation. What's the extra $15 to really make that vacation kind of come together? I just see it as an insurance policy to make sure that I get what I'm expecting.
I think that that's a great way of looking at it. And the other thing I think, at different times we've heard, the rumblings out there in the world, right, about this being something that was offered for free in the past and things like that. I think what it does is it gives us access to different levels of access to different attractions, right? You can choose, you don't have to buy any of it. And it depends on what's important for your vacation. Like you, Mike, the one thing I would hate to see people do is to sort of decide in their head, I'm not doing this on principle, and to then avoid, having access to the attractions using Genie Plus.
Because at first I was kind of like that. I'll be honest.
I know. Yeah.
We've had this discussion. I'm like, this kind of irks me because, again, I am cheap, but when you got to look at it pragmatically, is that this is how the world works nowadays. Like if I go to the Cardinals game, there are upsells. And the thing is, some of the upsells are worth the extra, this minimal, upsell cost to you really get a better experience. If you pay, I don't have to, but if I just pay that a little bit extra, I really have a better time at the ball game. And most theme parks do have this. It's just, that's how it is.
It's true. It's almost like, when you mention that, it is like seats at a ballpark, right? There are different pricing based on where you're sitting. And at the end of the day, what that really boils down to is access. And this does too. You have a different level of access. Being able to use that lightning lane is a benefit, and you do pay for it, but you're not paying a ton with Genie Plus, I think. And that's the part where I just, again, I'll say it again, I would hate to see people miss out on this on principle, just because they're, not going to do it, because I think it has the ability to impact your trip in a really positive way. And the fact is that you can add it to all of your ticket days. When you have a package, you don't have to worry about getting up that morning and purchasing it. It's something that you can add to your package. I think that is a big benefit too. The 30 minutes, don't discount that. The evening extra, they're not called extra magic hours, but the evening extra time in the park for deluxe and deluxe villa guests is huge too.
Those things just look like almost like those things have so few people in them. They're almost like those after hour events without the the food and stuff and the drinks. But they're sparsely attended. It's like you're a rock star. You have those parks. It's amazing what you've done at those things. If you're staying at a deluxe, I'm jealous.
100%. Yeah, there's lots of things. So it's all about the different access that you have in the parks. Again, you don't have to buy any of it. You could just buy the Genie Plus, or you could buy the Lightning Lane, individual Lightning Lane. And they're kind of fooling us, with all of those terms being so similar.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
You need like a flow chart.
I know. ILL. So let me ask you this though. So we kind of got the Genie Plus, but real quick, you were down there. Did you any tips for hotels, any good meals, anything like that you want to throw out there? We got about 10 minutes. I just want to get some highlights, but because Genie Plus is very practical and everybody's going to need to know that. And it's going to affect people right now, but what else? What's some of the fluff?
So
I like the fluff.
I know. And Mike and I were talking about this before we started recording. So we actually stayed at 3 different resorts, which, we always stay at a bunch of different resorts. We stayed at Copper Creek, we stayed at the Grand Floridian, and we also stayed at Grand Destino. And on one of our last nights at Grand Destino, it was sort of chilly, and I just wasn't feeling like being in the parks because I was cold and whatnot. So I said to my husband, let's just eat here at My Grill. We'll be able to walk up, get a reservation. And we did. And of course, I was channeling Mike.
By the way, Pam just said, let's just eat at My Grill, which is my favorite restaurant.
I know, right. So we ended up going there, and we had a fantastic meal. They've sort of updated their menus, and it was really a great meal. I had the chicken adobo, which was literally half of a chicken. I felt like every time I took a bite, there was still a half of a chicken left. Like, it was just so much food. given Steve chicken, and I could have given like the table next to me chicken. But anyways, it was really good. We had a really good meal there and just had a good time. So it's worth checking that out if you haven't in a while. And the good news was we were able to get a reservation that night. We were able to join the walk-up list, which is another feature that's available on your My Disney Experience app. So make sure you do that. Mike mentioned about the power source. You absolutely are going to want to have one. I wanted one before there was Genie Plus. I definitely want one afterwards. So check out on Amazon. There's lots of good different power sources to choose from. Just get something that's going to charge your phone a couple times, and you'll be glad that you did that. I had the chance to see the fireworks shows again. Saw them over the 50th and then saw them again. I will tell you, each time I see Harmonious, I find more things that I like about it. And I posted, it was a really nice picture. I was so glad that I was able to capture that on my Instagram.
My fam thought it was fake, by the way.
It was not, I promise.
I'm just saying, my fam thought that was something Disney gave her.
No, I took that on my iPhone. But the thing I've really noticed, we actually saw Harmonious a few times. The thing I've really noticed is you really get a different view and sort of a different perspective depending on where you're standing around the World Showcase, right? That part was very cool. And I'm sure everyone says, being able to see the big circle in the middle is the best spot. And it definitely is. But being off to the side actually gives you some different things to see too. So I like doing that.
So let me ask you this. So you get one shot to see it. I mean, like tomorrow aliens are going to come abduct you. You're never going to get to see it again. Where are you standing? Like if somebody's there once in a lifetime, they get to see it. Where are you going to stand?
It depends on how much time I want to invest.
Okay, well, say you got 3 hours. I mean, you're willing.
Well, then I'm going to be standing somewhere where I can see the middle.
Right there.
I am.
Between the two stores.
Yeah, I am. That's where I'm going to stand. I just think it offers a great view. I wanted to mention too, something else that I had the opportunity to do was to tour a couple of the suites at the Walt Disney World Resort. And I had the chance to tour the 2-story King Kamehameha suite at the Polynesian that has been redone, right? That's
where I'm spending Christmas Eve.
Yo, good for you.
I didn't tell you. I forgot to tell you. Yeah.
Yes. That was really amazing. We're going to put out a video on the Magic for Less Travel's YouTube channel here soon. But getting to tour that was fantastic. And we also toured the big suite at the Contemporary. So at these 2 original hotels, the rooms have recently been redone at both, right? We have the Incredibles themed rooms at the Contemporary, the Moana themed rooms at the Polynesian. And the suite at the Contemporary was fantastic too. Really, really such a good renovation to both of these hotels. And I think that they deserve it. They've been here since the beginning. They deserve this sort of refresh. And I think both of them were done so tastefully. And it will be something that appeals to, I think, parents and kids, right? Kids will be able to be like, I want to stay in a Moana room. And parents will be able to be like, I want to stay in a nice room that has all the plugs and all the bells and all the whistles and feels refreshed. And I think that they'll have the chance to do that.
And a door where you can go in your room by yourself. And also, I mean, kind of along those lines, club level rooms are reopening here soon at many of the deluxe resorts.
They are.
I met out over the past couple of weeks.
They are. So that's a good thing too. I know so many people have been, dying for those room types to come back. We want people want the club level. They like that level of service. They like being able to have breakfast included and evening appetizers and drinks included. So if that's something you're looking for too, reach out to us as well. And we'll try to get you one of those rooms. Again, though, I keep saying this and I know it sounds salesy and it's not meant to at all. This is coming from PM Forrester, just the person who knows Disney, not a travel agency owner. If you're interested in going at all this year or next year, reach out to us. You're already late. Let's see what we can get you booked with.
I know that's the whole thing. It's just, I mean, because the worst thing is just disappointment, because
yes.
I know, because when everybody, that's the thing is we see from this end of it, you and I see this is when people reach out obviously this is how I am. You know, when I want to do something, I'm excited about being able to do that. Like that initial contact is like, I'm excited. I want to go to Walt. People don't reach out because they're kind of like lukewarm on going to Disney. Like, because they're like, I want to take my kids, or, you know, I want to, you know, go before we have our first child, you know, kind of a mini moon or something. You know, it's always an excitement. And then when, you know, they give you your dates, it's like, oh my gosh, the only room is the King Kamehameha, which is, you know, $1 gajillion a night. So you're wanting to stay at Pop Century. You know, it's like, it's so sad, you know, but right now, you know, it's more true now than ever. Like the early bird gets the worm, you know, you got to get that room. So
for sure. And that's the thing. Like Mike always says, $200 deposit on the room for a package is all it takes. And the other thing is we continue to monitor for discounts. So if they are released at some point in the future, if it's available for your room and your room type, we apply that discount. So.
And another tip I just did for somebody that's kind of late to the game for Princess. I know we're way late to the game for Princess weekend and, you know, late February, but she was looking for a value. All the values are gone at the moment. So we booked Riverside, which wasn't ideal for her. But the thing is, you know, book Riverside. That's the best deal going right now. And we'll check every morning and try, you know, if a Pop Century or an All-Star Music pops up, we just move that reservation right over, you know, but at least you got a Riverside. And if it, you know, come mid-February, we doing anything and that doesn't work out with your budget, you can cancel, get the refund back, and no harm, no foul. But at least you got Riverside, you know, you can sleep. You know, it's all about sleeping between now and then. That's what I say. You got to have something. Trust me, because I'm always the last one to book my own hotels. I get it. I'm terrible about that. All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it. So thanks, Pam. I appreciate it. Sounds like you had a great trip and you, there was kind of business and pleasure and got to have some fun, but also did a lot that's going to help the guests over here at the Magic for Less.
For sure. It's always great to get to travel for business to Walt Disney World. So can't go.
I hear you. All right. Don't forget today's show. As we just talked about, always brought to you by the Magic for Less. So really not much more to say. Just drop by the magicforless.com today. We'd love to help you with that next trip. So just fill out that quote form while you're there, mention the show, and we'll be planning that trip together. So again, check them out today over at themagicforless.com. Please also use that Amazon affiliate link when you shop online. One extra click means a lot to us, especially during this busy holiday season. Just click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. And thank you sincerely to those who support us over on Patreon. You guys, it means the world to us. You allow us to put the show out 3 to 4 times a week all around the world. I got an email from somebody in Santiago, Chile last night that listens to the show. That's just amazing. So thank you for allowing us to put the show out. And again, our Patreons get a bonus show on Thursday called Mike in the Midwest. I appreciate you being there. If you'd like to support the show yourself, just visit patreon.com/beourguestpodcast. Follow Pam follow the Magic for Less Travel on Instagram. Great pictures over there. You mentioned that great picture of Harmonious, lots of content there all the time. So follow the Magic for Less Travel on Instagram. I'm at Be Our Guest Mike on Instagram and Twitter. We'll be together again this Sunday night for a live call-in show with Scott. So join us at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on Facebook and YouTube and give us a call. We'll talk Disney with you and we'll have a good time with that. So until we get back together again on Sunday night for the call-in show, for Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Friday. Stay safe, stay healthy, and go Vikings. We'll see you real soon. We got it done. Look at that. It's 101. Almost. Close. You're muted, but I will see you later, I guess.
Did you unmute me?
No, I didn't mute you, I don't think.
Oh, good. All right, good. Awesome. Thank you so much.
See you later. Thanks.
Okay, see you, everyone. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, everybody.